Movement inside West Jefferson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama. It's a historic prison. But today, what we're doing, we're continuing with our documentary series, profiling the inhumane living conditions, the excessive punishment, the racial targeting of African Americans and other poor people inside this country to support a system of mass incarceration. And what we'll be doing today is we'll be looking at a specific capital murder statute that has been used to target African Americans. Some people may know it as the gang-related drive-by statute. It deals with particular facts of a crime that makes it a capital punishment. Also, we'll be talking about the road rage and how these laws are applied in a discriminatory manner. Here with me today, I have a brother. He was incarcerated under the capital murder statute. So what I'm gonna do is allow him to introduce himself. He's gonna tell you what he's been charged with and how long he's been incarcerated, and then we're gonna go into the background of this statute and break it down and expose how the state is intentionally targeting African American men, how people are serving life without parole sentences inside of this prison system without really a just cause. And so, with that, I'll turn it over to you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, bro, first of all.
No doubt about it.
My name is Brandon Johnson, from Anderson, Alabama. In 1994, in 1994, I was at a nightclub, got into an altercation with a guy. He was drunk. He was driving. I was in the middle of the street. He come down the street, almost run me over. Turned the car around and came back towards me. I shot in the car and killed him. He was a white guy. They charged me with capital murder. I had never been in prison day in my life. A high school graduate, played with sports, but when I got locked up, they told me this was capital murder because the guy got killed in the vehicle. And since then I've been convicted of it and did over 22 years on it.
So you've already done 22 years on this crime, just one victim, correct?
One victim,
yeah. And normally when we talk about capital murders, you see things like multiple murders, heinous crimes, what they call aggravating circumstances. Give them an outline of just a few of the aggravating circumstances in other capital murder cases so we can lead up to how we got to the statute that you were prosecuted under.
In Alabama, capital murder is murder and robbery. The robbery elevates it to capital. If you kill somebody doing a robbery, it elevates it to capital murder. Murder and rape, the rape elevates it to capital murder. Murder and murder of a police officer by this guy being an officer during the time he was murdered. Aggravation is something that in the state of Alabama they call aggravation something that elevates the murder. So if you robbing somebody and they get killed, that elevates it to capital. If you burglarize, kidnapping and things of that nature,
rape,
police
officer,
murder of two people, you know what I'm saying? That they say that's aggravated because you killed two people, things of that nature.
Okay, so in your case, you charged with capital murder, and talk about what constitutes an aggravating factor in your crime, what they're actually using, or how is it applicable to the statute that you were prosecuted under.
What's originally supposed to have been done?
No, what they've done in your particular case. What constitutes the aggravating circumstance that made your crime a murder, a capital murder? Sorry.
What it really doesn't have one as far as how I was convicted, but I can tell you what was supposed to.
Okay, now that's what we're finna go into next.
Okay.
So in actuality, what he's saying is it's not really an aggravating circumstance. It is a factual based charge. It's based on a particular set of facts. So let's talk about the facts, and then we're gonna back up and go to the history of how that statute came into play. So tell them about the particular fact that makes your crime capital, makes you eligible for the death penalty. You were eligible for the death penalty, life without parole, and that was simply because
the victim got killed in the vehicle while I was outside of the vehicle. That's the fact basis of it. I was outside the car, he was inside the car, fired a shot into the car and killed him. And they said, based on those facts alone, I was eligible for the death penalty.
Okay, and those were the newest additions to the capital murder statute. Mm-hmm. What we're talking about, 15, 16, 17, and 18?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go back now. And this crime that he committed, he's not denying that. What he's saying is that he has been wrongfully prosecuted. He is, in essence, he's been over prosecuted and it is based on statutes that were passed by the Alabama legislature. So let's go back and talk about that. Let's talk about section 15, 16, 17, and 18 of the Alabama capital murder statute. So give us a little background on it and what the history on that, how this came about that you end up facing the death penalty for really a murder, just a simple murder case.
Well, back in 1992, well, in the early 90s, but they convened in 1992. It was Alabama. It was a public outcry against gang-related killings. You know, guys that was gang members or initiated for gangs. They was killing people. You know, just random killings. You know, and a lot of those killings turned out to be a gang initiation or you doing something for a gang. So the people in the state of Alabama had an outcry. And when they brought it to the Alabama legislature, say, hey, we need to do something about these gangs and these gang killings. So in 1992, the legislators convened and come up. This is you can get this document from the Secretary of State of Alabama. I got mine from the Archives of History, but the Secretary of State is holds all these documents. What they did was they convened in 1992 and they passed what they call the gang-related law, which means that if you kill 15, what he meant by 15, 16, 17, these are subsections. Subsection 15 is if you kill somebody that's 14 and under. They call that a capital murder case. But under this document, even though that they was 14 and under, if you can see right here, it has to been what's classified as a drive-by, but what they meaning by that is it had to have gang relation.
And we see those words right here, drive-by shooting. So that's what they were talking about. Death penalty offenses to include drive-by shootings. Change the section. Okay, go ahead.
And what they did was, if you kill a 14-year-old or under and it had gang related, this was what it was intended for. If you kill a 14-year-old and under, that's section 15. It had to show that it was doing gang relation. I can give you an example. Like if two gangs had a shootout and some kids walking by and the child got killed, that was supposed to be capital murder because they were supposed to be able to show that a child under 14 got killed due to spray bullets or stray bullets during the gang relation. That's the only way that subsection was supposed to be able to elevate. That's the aggravation, the gang relation. That's the only way that was supposed to be elevated to capital murder.
Before you go any further, now like you said, okay, today you may look on the news and you'll see a parent kill a child. Maybe there's an adult. We just saw a guy get convicted of capital murder and gassing for killing a child. But what you're saying is the statute says that if you kill a child under 14, it's a capital offense. But in actuality, what you're saying, the intent of the law was not to make the killing of a child in and of itself a capital offense, but it was the killing of a child during the course of a gang-related incident that aggravated it and made it a capital offense. Is that correct?
That's what it's.
And that's section 15.
Section 15.
Okay, now section 16 deals with 16, 17, and 18 are those the three that pretty much all deal with the inside of the vehicle. What is 16?
16 is if you shoot into a house.
Okay.
If you shoot into a house, no matter if you inside or out, if you shoot into a house and you kill somebody, they have been charging people with capital murder, but just simply because somebody got killed while they was in the house. But gang relation is the gravamen that raises it up from murder to capital. That's the aggravation.
And that's because you had gang members going by, spraying up people's houses, shooting up in the house.
Yeah.
And so they were targeting, again, these 15, 16, 17, 18, all were targeting gang-related activity. And we talked about aggravated circumstance. So the aggravator that was intended by the legislator in 15, 16, 17, 18 was gang-related activity. That was the aggravating circumstance. Okay, all right, so we got 16. Now let's talk about 17 and 18 because that's the one where you were actually prosecuted under. So give a little background on that. So that
when he showed you that document and you saw drive-by killings, that's 16, that's 17 and 8. 17 is what I'm charged and convicted on. Well, like I said, I shot into a car and killed a dude that was trying to run me over. They said simply because he was in that vehicle, they charged me with capital murder. And 18 is if I'm in a car and the person is outside. If I ride by and a person is on the street corner or something, and I shoot outside that car and kill that person, Alabama been charging and convicted people of capital murder just on the basis that I was in the car and the victim was outside the car.
But no
No
relation to whether it was gang related.
No relation period. No aggravation period. They just going by what's been placed inside what's called the criminal code. And what's in the criminal code is different, totally different from what the legislators passed in 1992.
Okay.
That's not it.
Okay, you got some more documents for us here.
Okay.
Let's talk about this is the Senate. Do we have a particular legislative document where it used the word gang related in it?
Yeah. We if y'all give me a minute, let me show you. Back in 2006, right here.
All right.
The Alabama legislature in 2006 come back and they attempted to straighten up what had already been passed.
Now tell us what happened with this document, because this dealt with a particular person case, Fondren.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened with Fondren,
okay,
and how this case came back in front of the Alabama legislature and dealt with what the Alabama legislature actually intended with the gang-related drive-by shooting statute.
Okay. I got another document. Give me a.
Okay.
Okay, that's his mother. Back in March, he's from Madison as well. Back in March 2003, a white dude up in my county named Philip Fondren had got to arguing with another player, a football player of a female. And what happened in that situation was the guy ran up on Philip Fondren's truck with a pipe or something, right when it said, "Is this really justice?" And Philip killed him. They charged him too with capital murder. He got convicted of capital murder. But his mother in 2003, right here, Deidre Fondren, she was the face or the voice of why is this really capital murder? What she was saying is, how could her son? And if you look at it, she talks about the drive-by. She's saying this is not really a drive-by situation. And
so what happened again? What were the circumstances?
Circumstances was him and this guy got to arguing about a female. The dude go and pick up a pipe and run towards his truck. He was in the truck at the time, and he shoot a deer rifle out or something, and he kills the guy. And he get charged and convicted of capital murder. Okay. But his mother, some sort of way,
based on her advocacy, his mother became an advocate for justice for her son, because she was arguing that her son's case was not gang related, and so therefore the gang related capital murder statute should not apply. He should not be prosecuted for gang related. And so the Alabama legislature convened on her advocacy, and they came out with this document right here. Now tell them what this is right here.
This is what's called if you would, it's called HJ 575. It's a House Joint Resolution that came out in 2006, and basically in this document they telling the state of Alabama that y'all been charging people the incorrect way. If it was not, and this document talks about the gang related. It talks about back in 1992. It talks about that public outcry we spoke about earlier about gang related killings. And it was urging the Alabama legislature and the district attorney's office and them, hey, stop charging people with these type of cases if gang relation was not involved. And they used Philip Fondren's situation in there, and they talked about there was no gang relation. It was a argument turned deadly, and Philip Fondren should have never been charged.
The simple fact that his victim was in the car.
No, he was in the car. He was in the vehicle. This 18.
Oh, that's right. He shot out of the vehicle. So this actually, Philip Fondren's case more resembled a drive-by shooting than yours did, because he was actually inside the vehicle and fired out. And so that's what she was arguing, that the mere fact that he was in a vehicle and fired out of a vehicle alone does not constitute capital murder. But that's what he was prosecuted under, because the way the statute is written and the way it's being prosecuted, they went ahead and charged him with this death penalty case anyway. And so from that, like he said, we got this House Joint Resolution, and it was passed by both houses. That's why it's called a House Joint Resolution. And they said that that's not the way that the statute was intended to imply, that it must involve gang relation and drive-by shooting. And so what is Mr. Fondren's status today?
From the last that I read, his case has been overturned. Mr. Fondren might be on the streets. I don't know where he's at, but if anybody that's listening to this, if you read It's a case in the United States District Court. Came out in 2012. It's Philip Fondren versus United States. United States District Court reversed and kicked this case back, and he might be on the street. They gave him 180 days to retry him, and in that case, they talks about the gang-related aspect of his case. That wasn't the reason why he got overturned, but they talked about that this was never a gang. So if you could look at that, and you'll be able to get a better basic overview of what happened. But he's no longer convicted of capital murder.
Okay, you got a copy of your indictment right here, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, does your indictment anywhere in it say that your crime was gang related?
No, sir. Nowhere. It just said I intentionally caused the death of another one, like I said, a white guy, and while he was in the vehicle, and I was outside the vehicle. That's all. This is my indictment, right?
So y'all can see that for yourself. He was not charged with any type of gang related activity. And despite that fact, he still was charged with capital murder, and you faced the death penalty when you won the charge. All right, now we're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to talk about another person that most people know about in this state that fired a gun outside of a car and killed someone, and it was a high-profile case. And most people probably heard the term road rage. That was probably the first road rage case in the state of Alabama. So tell us about the road rage case. Give a little background on that as it pertains to this particular statute. And we're going to put this in the context because Philip was white. He's got justice. This lady was white. Now talk about her case.
Well, like I said, in 1992, they passed this law. In 1999, he just told you, her name was Shirley Henson. It was a situation in Shelby County, Alabama, where two females got to arguing on the highway about whatever in case it was. But this female Shirley Henson was followed by another female named her last name was I forgot what it was, but Sewell or something like that. But they come off the highway and they stopped on the exit, and the female got out the car and she came towards Shirley Henson's vehicle, and another argument ensued. And the basic overview of it was Shirley Henson reached in her car and 5 inches from this woman's face and point blank range and shot her in the face. And America called that road rage. Clearly, Shirley Henson was in the vehicle and this other female was outside the vehicle when she was killed. And she never was charged. She was initially charged. If you can look, it's public documents. You can ask, they'll give it to you. It's like I said, it's Shelby County. I got a copy, but I don't have it with me right now. It's a part of my filings. But if you ask about this, you can see she was initially indicted for murder only. She never was indicted for capital murder.
So that wasn't road rage offense was not a lesser included offense to a capital crime. She was never charged with capital murder. Two white women, no gang relation, no charge of gang relation, no allegation of gang relation, no capital murder, showing exactly how the statute was intended to be to be prosecuted. Mm-hmm. Okay, so. Are there any other instances, circumstances, any other cases, backgrounds? Well, now, before we get to that, I want you to pull out your indictments. Do you have your indictments, your transcripts? You have copies of your transcripts, and the reason why I want to see your transcript, because I want them to see that this person that you were convicted of killing was actually trying to run over you with their vehicle. And that's in your transcript, and that's from the state's witnesses and the people who testified against you. Basically, it's a self-defense case. Stand your ground. Y'all had an argument. He trying to run you over in a vehicle, and you defended your life, and yet you've done 22 years in prison. Do you have those?
I have it. Could you give me 1 second?
We're gonna pause this for 1 second. Okay, we're back now, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna just put the factual content of his case out here before you all, so you all can see that this man actually stood his ground, defended himself, and still, because he's African American, he killed the white man. Here he is, convicted of a capital offense. The maximum over prosecution is over prosecution from the perspective that they even charged him with a capital case. And it's an injustice because he spent 22 years of his life, first time in prison. Was this your first time ever been in trouble with the law?
Yes, never been in trouble. Been in the military, graduated from high school. Was a high school standout in basketball, played a little football, Yeah, I never been in trouble in my
I
life.
think your son might be a little better than you, though.
Yeah.
We'll talk about his son in a minute. He got a very successful son, very well educated, influenced by his dad. He's still been a father in here. His son, scholarships from how many Ivy League schools?
5 different Ivy League schools.
5 different Ivy League schools. And so we're going to cover that, show his interview that he did where he gave you a lot of credit for that. Okay, but let's go to your case and let's take a look at all right, tell us what we're looking at now. Tell us.
This is a document. This is a portion of my transcript. This is one of the guys. His name Alan McGrew. He's the guy that was with me that night or that this happened. He testified against me. He received a deal in order to testify against me. And he told, he testified before the grand jury. I still got indicted for capital murder and everything. But his testimony reveals that I was almost run over before I got killed. And that's the guy. And if you look on this page, it talks about us. The DA was asking him, said, I was in the street, like I said, I was talking to a female, and he asked him, he said, now after he talked with the girl, what happened? He said, well, the green car, it came up the road. It was speeding, and it came, turned around, and came back, and they started arguing. So then if we the next page, he said, did he do anything with regards to the car at the time? He tried to get out of the way. All right, was the car pretty close to him? It almost hit him. This guy was drunk driving, and he almost run me over. This was the testimony of every witness that testified against me. They said I killed the guy, but he almost run me over. And I still got charged with convicted for capital murder.
So, I mean, we see so many. Robert Earl Counsel, his case is almost identical to yours. I told you about that. The guy was trying to run him off the road. He fired a gun, killed the guy, fired out of a vehicle. Same situation as you, capital murder. So, I mean, the guy from Oakwood, do you have his file out? That was
I can get it. I don't have it right now, but I'll be able to give it to you. Like I said, it's part of my file.
Well, just tell them about it. Explain what happened at
It's
Oakwood.
a guy. He's out of Huntsville.
That's what I'm
I forgot his name, but he initially was charged with capital murder. It was a nightclub argument turned deadly. He allegedly went outside of the club and 2 people was in the vehicle. He walked up to the vehicle and he shot and killed one. The other one survived. But in the mix of him going to trial, they come out with a resolution in 2006, and the judge amended his complaint down from capital murder down to murder, regular murder, and charged him from there. Based on the resolution that was telling them that if it ain't gang related, it won't charge.
Yeah, let's go back to this resolution for a minute and talk about that. Is that it right there? Oh yeah, this is the one we almost forgot. This one, Bedgood. Let's talk about Bedgood for a minute. You talk about Bedgood. I'm gonna get this House Joint Resolution. Okay, here it is. Tell them about Bedgood, what this situation was.
Okay, this is a guy named Stephen Bedgood right here. He's from Mobile County. It's kind of bleak a little bit, but now if you can, this is a really, really good situation. In Bedgood's situation, he was coming home, seen a car pull out of his driveway, really hard, but this guy's name is Stephen Bedgood. He was coming home and saw a car pull out of his driveway. Unbeknownst to Bedgood, the guy that was pulling out of his driveway had been stealing out of his garage. So when Bedgood realized that it was somebody stealing from him, he jumped out of his car and the dude pulled off. Dude got a half a mile down the road almost. Bedgood pulled a high-powered rifle and shot 5 or 6 shots into the guy's car, shooting him in the back of the head and killing him. Bedgood was initially charged with manslaughter. Never charged with murder or nothing. He was charged with manslaughter.
And what color is Bedgood?
Bedgood was a white guy.
White guy.
Out of Mobile County. He was charged with manslaughter. He received criminal negligence homicide. Those who got convicted of. He got 6 months county jail, and that was it.
I think they suspended that because it said, but no jail time.
And no jail time. They suspended. He never even got charged with murder. So this is it's wild, but
this is just another example of how this law was used to target. It was used to target African American people from the beginning. And so any other instance where they felt like, okay, well, there's another guy, we can get him under, but they're never complying with the intent of the law. So getting back to this House Joint Resolution, um, talk about what has been, I've litigated for guys on this, you've litigated on it. What has been the response from the courts? First, what is and from a legal perspective, what is the weight of a House Joint Resolution that is magnitude? Because they are not issued every day. This is very rare that you even get a House Joint Resolution like this. But the fact that it passed both houses of the state legislature and they are all articulating what their intent was. What has been the reception of this House Joint Resolution in the courts and throughout the state?
Well, like you just said, this is a House Joint Resolution, but they have not been respected. They've been telling us that it's not law. It doesn't hold no weight. That's what they've been saying about this.
But we got a document over here, and it tells where the source of an interpretation of an act is supposed to come from. Tell what all of the components of an act. When you want to know what the legislature's intent was, how an act should be interpreted, what are all of the components of it? Do you recall?
No, not right off.
Okay, I know it said, but these are part of what they have to look to, right?
Yeah.
The legislative records, the minutes, the transcript, notes, and whatnot. So why do you think it's been such an obstacle for people to get relief in light of the fact that you got the legislative records showing the journals, you got the journals showing what they were intending to prosecute, gang-related crimes. When the legislator found out that it was not being prosecuted based on fondling, his mother advocating, the legislator coming out with the House Joint Resolution, why is it that you can't get the relief that you are seeking, or what has been the response that you received from the courts?
Man, I'm vexed with that situation. I'm so beat down on it over the years. I really can't tell you why they didn't give it no relief. I really can't tell you why they didn't give it no relief. But my only thing is, so many of us convicted of it, it'll be a floodgate, and they don't want to let us out. That's the best thing I can say. It's in this camp alone. It's 60 of us, and all of us black. There's no white. Yes, it's 60 of us here with it, and none of us got relief on it. Everybody's still charged and convicted of capital murder.
How many guys do you have a list of them? Do you know their names? Do you think that's something we can get?
We can get
do a part 2 and put some more names out there, because they've never, to my knowledge, I've never saw an indictment alleged gang-related activity in the indictment.
No.
But it's clear from the journals and the House Joint Resolution and all the other documents around this piece of legislation that was what they were intending to punish. So I think we could collect names, maybe collect indictments, and do a part 2 and just show the gravity of this statute, how it's being used, and most of the examples that we show of people who committing the same act but not charged the same way are all white.
Yeah.
And we just saw on the news, 2 days ago, another guy was charged. They're fixing to use it again, a black guy. He's about to be charged with capital murder, but it's not a capital offense.
It's not a capital offense, period.
So talk to the people, tell them about this, tell them what this means to you, how this impacts your life, your family, your son, being a father.
Well, done tore me totally away from my family. Like I said, I've been gone since I was 21. I'll be 43 next month. People done died off on me. All my children grown. I'm a grandfather now. It's very impactful. And other guys, not just myself, there's other guys in there who's got older. Some have even died in there, based upon being convicted of this charge. They never got an opportunity to get out. So like I say, my mom and them, they forgive me and things. This is a very unlawful situation, and which the state of Alabama is not making up or making do on it. You know what I'm saying? They change the laws for other things, but they won't touch this. So it's hard to swallow. Considering my circumstances, I was not, like you just said, I'd never been in trouble. It was an argument turned deadly, and I spent the rest of my life, or they got me sentenced to spend the rest of my life on it. So it's very hard on the family.
What about legal assistance? Have you been able to get any attorneys, specialists in these laws? Have you been able to get any type of help? What kind of help would you need? I mean, if you could talk and say that I need particular kind of help, what type of help would you need to get?
We need to put support of the people, because like I said, the legislature will come back in 06. They admitting to their faults, but ain't nobody pulling up and telling them, hey, what you gonna do about it? We need some people that's willing to stand and bound together and say, hey, this is wrong. And then, like I said, I know the legal aspect of it. And you got lawyers who want it, but they don't have no help. You got one lawyer in Birmingham named Roger Phil who's been advocating hard, and he can't get nobody to help him. So, we just don't have nobody. But the people, we need the people to be involved.
Hey man, I really appreciate it, Brandon. Man, this is we've been talking about this for a couple of months now, and we know that something has to be done, but we also know we have to be the ones to initiate that spark. So, if you're listening, if you're part of a criminal justice program, a lawyer, just coming out getting into the practice, or if you've already been in the practice, this is an injustice in Alabama. We're a Free Alabama movement, and that's what our job is. We expose the injustices from the street to the courtroom to the prisons, whether it's wrongful convictions, over convictions, sentencing, living conditions, the whole 9 yards, because this is inhumanity in its highest form. This is the highest form of inhumanity. Turn around and show them that vent up there. Yeah, I want to see this vent because I'm sitting here looking at it. Now y'all look at the dust on this vent. Y'all can see the dust so thick on this vent that they don't even clean it. All right, now look at this. I'm gonna show you how thick it is. This is how thick it is that I can just reach up there and pull some off. That's how thick it is. And so, look up here at the light. He's only got one light bulb. It's supposed to be two. It's only one. Look at the size of the cell. Just look at the size of the cell. This is where 2 men have to live. 2 men live in a cell 8 by 11. We can stand from wall to wall and touch and still have room. And we're not even turned side by side. We got our backs up against the wall. And so 2 men have to live. These are the 2 racks that we have to sleep on. And this is the Alabama Department of Corrections that we're talking about. These are the people that are asking for them $800 million. But we look at all the injustice going on, and they're talking about everything but justice. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue advocating, continue exposing the injustice, and continue to reach out to the people for assistance. And we hope that you move by this story. Like he said, there's over 60 people serving life without parole in just this prison, just William E. Donaldson, based on the same set of circumstances.
And it's about maybe 250 in all, based on the drive-by statute. That there really never was a drive-by statute because they omitted the drive-by application of it and said if you kill about somebody in the car, if you just kill a child, if you kill somebody in the house, if you in the car and kill somebody out, it's capital. But it's not been applied. Like he just told you, white people been getting away with it, and like Mr. Bedgood, he never even got charged with murder. So it's very,
Yeah, and your circumstances were in the heat of the moment.
Yeah. This
man just standing in his driveway, see somebody driving away, fire a high power rifle and kill him. It's absurd, so it's hard to articulate because I done seen it over and over and over and over and over. That's where we are today. We're going to expose it and put it out there, and we hope that people respond to this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your assistance on the camera. Free Alabama.